Hello, I'm a sorceress who's been locked inside a dumpster for the last 10,000 years, Leo, and welcome to In Bed with BL. So, I've been on hiatus for a really long time. There's a couple of reasons behind that. Mostly is because I've been busy with something else, which I'm going to release a video about what I've been doing later this week. Ooh, excitement. So hopefully that will be really cool and you guys will be interested in that, and maybe it will be helpful. But that's kind of been a big reason why I've been slow making videos, because I'm really slow at editing, and I still have actually videos I've shot a while ago, but it's very time consuming because I'm still really crappy at editing, as maybe you've noticed. So I'm doing this mid-year roundup, even though it's about 3 months late after mid-year. It's almost the 2022 by now. But I've been watching Read with Cindy, and she did one 2 months ago or something like that, and I thought it was a really cool idea. The questions that she was answering was about books, but I tweaked the questions a little bit so they would go with LGBTQIA+.
Gays, lesbians, LGBTQIA+ community.
TV shows and movies. So we're gonna do that, and yeah, so let's get started. Welcome to Sleep Talk, where I'm gonna do our mid-year roundup. So rules for this: I will only use one show one time. There is one exception, and I'll explain why the exception works. But so I may have felt that some could go in other categories, but for more excitement, so I can talk about more shows and movies, I'm gonna do just one per category. Or you would have like I Told a Sunset About You, Call It What You Want, and Tale of a Thousand Stars, or Gaia Sub Molecula would be like every single winner the whole time. So I'm just gonna have it be just one show for a category, except for this one time, and I'll explain why then. So let's get started. So the first one is a new release that's happened in 2021 that you haven't seen but you want to see. You haven't seen but you want to see, and that is the Yearbook. I don't know anything about it. I'm assuming it's high school. It's a love story, but a lot of people online seem to think it's really cute and it has good emotion, and the pictures I've seen so far look really good. So I definitely want to see that when I have time. If you think it's really good, or if you think there's a better one that I should be watching, feel free to comment below. The next question is your most anticipated 2021 release that will happen at the end of the year. I actually don't think this will happen in 2021, but maybe 2022, but it's Color Rush Season 2. If you've seen my video on Color Rush, you would know that I really like the show. As a colorblind person, seeing a colorblind love story is really cool, and Korean BLs are actually really good and have really interesting stories, and that world has a lot more to offer, so I'm really excited. I really hope it goes through because it was good. I liked it. Your biggest disappointment so far? That would have to be Fish Upon a Sky. I really like that show. I had so much faith in you show. I was 100% invested, and I think it's like 5 or 6 episodes. There's a scene where Dwayne, the brother, and his friends like dress up in brown face. I think it's brown face. I have to do some more research to see if it actually is maybe a reference to something else. But they dress up as like hooligans to crash a car so that Dwayne's brother Pete could drive his crush home, and it doesn't obviously go that way. But it was like really weird, and when that happened, they also did it for like 2 more episodes. Like they kept going back to it. It wasn't just like ugh, and then hidden shame. They're like, oh yeah, we did this, ugh, which was pretty terrible. But after that switch, it kind of got really weird. The love interest started being like really creepy. He's like always looking through windows and watching P, like he's been watching too much Twilight, and he's Edward now, like always in his room watching him. So at that point it kind of like went downhill, which really bummed me out, because like the concept of just like the nerd boy being hated and like him being an attractive person would actually hurt him because people online will bully him more. Like everything he felt was like 100% valid, and I was like, oh my god, this is a really cool, interesting concept. I'm invested. I've been that person before. I can 100% get into this. And it also has those like 90s, early 2000s feel, like even early, like Pretty in Pink from the 80s, or like She's All That, where they do like the transformation, where they take off his glasses and he's now the prom king. So that throwback was really cool, but that one thing like really ruined it because like I can't recommend it anymore because of that scene, because it's weird.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you! Learn something from this!
And they didn't like, they kept going with it, so that was a big disappointment. My biggest surprise of 2021 was Tonhon Chonlatee. Mostly I'm surprised about this because either nobody talked about it or people just thought it was like very meh. It's not like the best thing ever, but I actually thought it was kind of funny and cute. It had it almost made me think of like American Pie. Like there's a lot of like weird, dirty humor that I'm not used to in these type of shows, and not just like creepy like sex jokes or something, but like it just had like a lot of just like funny, raunchy bits that had me laughing. And there was kind of this like self-awareness to it, like some scenes like where the Tonhon, the love interest, was like being like a generic love interest where he's like incredibly toxic and dangerous and should not be dated by anybody. Like other characters would comment like, oh wow, this is a nightmare, don't you see that this is bad? So it had some cool, interesting things. I'm gonna make a video about this later because I thought way too much during this show, and I got into like all these like spirals and rabbit holes of thought processes, which usually don't happen when I watch these shows because they're usually very simple bubblegum pop shows. But I was really surprised because it was a lot more interesting than other people gave it credit for, and a lot of people just did not like it in general. But wait for my video on that because it's good. It's okay, but it was surprising. Your biggest fictional crush. That would 100% be Hoon from I Told Sunset About You, and also I Promised You the Moon. But I Told Sunset About You because we're just doing one. But Brother Hoon, not only is he amazingly, majestically beautiful and gorgeous and perfect, but he's like a really good brother and does like a lot of cool things for the family. He's supportive when his brother finds out he's gay. Like he does everything correct. And whenever there's a show that has like supportive family members, I'm 110% invested. Hoon is gorgeous, he's perfect, he's amazing, he's beautiful. Everything he does is perfect. Everything he touches is gold. So yeah, he's my fictional crush of 2021 so far. Who is yours, actually? Write down below. Who is your big crush in the BL world of 2021? Who is my newest fave character? This one, I bent the rule a little bit because I was behind the times and I didn't also find this out until this year. But have you ever seen the anime Saiki K, The Disastrous Life of Saiki K? It's an anime. It's not technically a BL or gay romance or anything. But according to the manga and some deep searching on the cartoon itself, the anime itself, Saiki is technically a trans character. Saiki was born a female, but decided that he felt more as a male and switched his gender via his amazing psychic powers and lived his life, the rest of his life, as a male. People like to dispute this because he has the ability to shapeshift, and he shapeshifted a lot of times while his mother was pregnant with him, and they show this in the manga. But the concept of him not being the gender he felt he was when born and using his powers or just changing his form to fit his true personality, I think is really cool. And I think that's like also he's like the most powerful, cool character in manga and anime. Like he can do everything. Like the joke is he has all the powers in the world and he just wants to be a normal person. And him being like kind of a cool, could be like an awesome trans icon character is great. He's kind of like an anime Daria. So even though this is really old and not a 2021 thing, I love this character. And he's my favorite character of 21 because I learned it this year. So I'm bending the rules because Saiki K is amazing and perfect. And now is a trans icon for me. Shows that made you cry. This one's kind of cheating because I don't think I watched it in 2021, but it's been 2020 and 2021 has been very confusing and I lost track of time and everything. because of obviously COVID-19 situations. But Geasa Caligula, I love it, you love it, everyone loves it, it's amazing. I rewatched it multiple times for my other videos. I still have been working on the like behind the scenes video of me breaking down and crying when rewatching it. The last 2 episodes, even when I think about it, sometimes I cry. So I just have to talk about it because it's really good, and more people should just love this because it's perfect. You can watch it on Netflix, you can watch it on YouTube. There was going to be a season 2, but then there was all that drama. Obviously, poor Pablo, he's being amazing. You should support him, follow him on Twitter. Whatever he does, if he decides not to do season 2, he said that he will be doing something. He's really been blossoming this year, so I just want to talk about that in general. So I'm glad the studio has been behind him. Besides obviously the person who did the thing, but everybody else, his supporting cast, his supporting producers, directors have all been supporting him in his endeavor and the situation he was in. So yeah, hopefully we get to see more of him and Ian or something like that, but either way, it makes me cry. And then that whole situation actually made me cry again. That made me cry in 2021 because that was horrible. To have something so good be kind of hurt by something so terrible. But if you haven't seen it, you have to watch Geasa Caligula because it's so good and you'll cry if you have a heart. Shows that made you happy. Papa Daddy. Papa Daddy is a Taiwanese show from Gaga Ulala. A lot of the shows that I've been watching lately have been on that because it's a streaming service and it's not that expensive and it updates quite a lot, and it always has English subtitles, so I can watch almost everything. And they're doing some like older shows. They just released Gagukin Heaven, which is like mega old. I remember watching it as a kid, and it was like a fever dream. It's a weird show, so I'm gonna rewatch that because I'm kind of excited. But anyways, Papa Daddy I feel like it was made for me. It's just so, it's a sitcom, a comedy sitcom about 2 gay parents that have a child, they have a son, and he's adorable, and everything about it is adorable and cute. And we got a season 2, so they're making a season 2. I'm really excited. So yeah, you should watch it. Go to Gaga Ulala and watch it. I think the first episode is free if you don't even log in. But I definitely recommend it. It's really funny. It just made me happy every time I watched it. Every episode, you're just like, oh, it felt good. And just seeing like a happy show about a gay family, even though like marriage and kids, the heteronormative, whatever, but it's just good. It's like a good old-fashioned fun. So I highly recommend it. You'll feel happy. The most beautiful story you've seen in 2021. So this one's kind of a strange pick, and it depends on what you mean by beautiful. But I recently watched, because it's on Netflix now, in Taiwan at least, is What Did You Eat Yesterday? And it's beautiful in a strange way. Sometimes, like Shiro, I don't think sometimes is a really good boyfriend because he has a lot of problems. But he's also older and he's in a different country, he's either in Japan. So there's like cultural situations where I might not be aware of, and he's older, he's 45, his boyfriend is also in his mid to late 40s. So, but something just like with older gays, he's dealing with his family, he's dealing with his culture as a gay man, and then all the cooking was really good, and they settled everything very like adult and normally. Like most of the problems don't actually have like a resolution, just kind of like in real life. Like they get over if there's no like huge problems. Maybe there's a couple, but they have like this the argument, and then they just like kind of move on. They eat dinner and they grow as a couple kind of thing. So I thought it was really beautiful and just kind of like an interesting older gay male biopic kind of way. And usually, especially in BL, there's not like older gay male love stories. Usually it's like young and sexy and high schoolers, and it was cool to watch like older men just existing and like living together and just going through like slice of life mentality type stuff. So I felt it was beautiful just because it felt so fresh. And also, as I'm getting older, I liked that I was watching people older than me, and there was somebody in their 30s and he was like the baby gay, and that made me feel better about my life. So that's also really refreshing and very beautiful. What show do you need to watch? Yet again, this might have been at the end of 2020. or the beginning of 2021, I'm not 100% sure, but Manner of Death. I talked about this a lot when doing all my other Max Tool videos. I finally finished it. I haven't made a video, but I need to. Manner of Death is so good. It's not a traditional generic love story because it's like a murder mystery plot. Some people say that they knew right away what was the end and who the murderer was and blah, 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 blah. But I felt the twists and turns were actually pretty fun and interesting. It caught me off guard a couple times. I also liked that the drama was like there's a murderer and Bun thinks Tan did it, and that's kind of like what keeps them apart a little bit. And it's not like a weird like sexual assault or one of them is like doing terrible things to the other and it's toxic and not healthy. There are a couple of moments where I was like, but nothing was irredeemable in that show. And the end, there was an end scene with like a marriage proposal, which I think was maybe the worst possible way to ask someone to marry them. We can talk about that when I do the video. But I think it's really good, and Max and Tool are perfect and amazing and beautiful in every possible way as a TV couple. So always support them no matter what they do. But it's really good, so you should watch it. You can watch it, I think, on WeTV. It still should be free for all the episodes. If not, log in and pay for it for a month. It's really good. I recommend it. Who is your favorite actor of 2021? So, yet again, Call It What You Want was a really cool original show. It has Thai actors and Taiwanese actors, which I thought was really cool. But Michael Scotfield, who plays Bass, is astoundingly good. Not only is he incredibly beautiful, and I was actually going to put him as my crush, but I couldn't have Bass be every single category winner. But Michael is insanely good. This character goes through this like insane emotional turmoil, arc, growth. Like he hits the lows, he hits the highs. The whole show is about him. The first season, you thought it was going to be about James Knight, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's Bass's story. And Michael is enough to carry the whole show. Like, the actors are really good, the other people are really good, the director's good, everything's good about it, but like, I'm sure his back hurt because he was the show. Like, even if everybody else was great, like, he was just astoundingly good. He hit all those emotional, sad things, like, so well. Like, I cried because I was able to connect with him a lot as a character in general, which we'll talk when I do that video. But anyways, you should give him all the money, all the support. Follow him on Instagram, follow him on Facebook, follow him on Twitter. If you follow his Instagram, he's doing like this whole body transformation thing, so there's a lot of thirst traps, which is great. And he's a really good actor. He's not technically a new actor, because I think he was in like Oxygen, but he should be in more things. He's insanely good. Yeah. The best sequel of 2021. This is where I kind of cheat, because there weren't too many sequels. There was just We Best Love and then Call It What You Want Season 2. And I actually don't even think I finished We Best Love. I think I still have one episode left. I don't know why I didn't finish it, because I really liked it, but I didn't finish it. But it's going to be Call It What You Want Season 2. So yeah, I'm bending the rules, because Michael has to be the best actor. He has to take the category, because there's other people, but like there's no other option really. And there's only 2 seasons 2s I watched this time, and I didn't finish one, so this was kind of the only option. But in this season 2, I think took everything and made it much better. The season 1 arc was fine, it was interesting. Michael ended up stealing the show, Bass stole the show, because he was able to give a lot of like subtle acting that made you go like, oh crap. Like there's like the scene where James first goes to the acting area and meets Ike and Bass, and they have this like weird Children of the Dam stare, and you're like, oh snap, something's terribly horrible wrong with this production of the show. But then season 2 is when like the shit hits the fan, and you get Bass's story like full steam, and it's really good. It takes an interesting thing, the first season, which is only 6 episodes, so you can also think they're kind of one long season because it's 12 episodes in general. But it's a really good season 2. I recommend it. Also, love. You should check it out because it's good. And finally, the best BL of 2021 so far. This one, it's kind of obvious, like no one has stopped talking about this, but Tale of 1,000 Stars. Tale of 1,000 Stars, it's really good. That one also was kind of a winner for It Surprised Me, because when watching it, I thought it was just like gonna be like, oh, the way people talked about it. Earth and Nyx are really attractive. Earth is insanely hot. Like, you watch Water Boys, you watch other things he's been in, you follow him on Instagram, I'm sure. He's really handsome. So I thought the show was just gonna be like, oh look, they're handsome, but this time Earth is a soldier in the jungle. But the story was actually really interesting. I got very nervous with the concept of the girl being inside Nyx's body, and I thought this was going to be like oh, it's actually a straight romance because Earth's character really loves the woman. But there's like actually these subtle hints that he actually didn't really love her. He liked her as a friend and she loved him, and it actually has a lot of really cool layers. It was really, really interesting. There's one part I was like, oh, but it's not that big of a deal. And as somebody who works with children, they added like a really good emotional layer. Nyx dealing with the children and being the teacher while also dealing with other things and being sad in front of children, like being depressed and heartbroken and then going to have to teach children to like grow up and be happy is like the worst moment in your life. So that was really cool. But I definitely recommend Tale of 1,000 Stars. It's getting like a lot of awards and people are talking about it again. So I'm sure you know about it if you watch anything BL related. So that was my mid-year roundup. Were there any categories that you would choose a different one in? Let me know in the comments below what other BL shows or movies that I didn't mention that you think would be better in those categories. I had a hard time. I watched a lot of things this year, and there's also things that I watched this year for the first time, and it might have been actually older. But I think I stand by my list. It's prone to change because there are better things, there are worse things. I find things out later on. But there was a lot of really good ones this year, and there's some really good ones I wanted to talk about. I made a list, but they didn't fit into the categories that I had. But definitely check out some of the other ones. Like Light on Rago Ulala is really, really good and interesting. It's really saucy too. So I'm gonna get back in the swing of making more videos and editing, trying to edit a lot faster. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.